I didn't even realize we were recording. So it's Words About Books, Ben.
It's Words About Books, Nate. Now, I got to ask you.
The only podcast on the planet, Ben, that will respond to you in real time. If you just go into the comments section, you start commenting on the video as you're listening to it, we will speak directly to you through your speakers. The podcast changes as you interact with us. It's crazy.
It is at least 3 different people now who have we don't get a lot of views on YouTube. I don't check YouTube very often. Audio only podcasts, the YouTube algorithm doesn't really recommend them very much. So I don't really put a lot of effort into the YouTube. But every now and then, and it's happened on Spotify a couple of times too, we'll get somebody who clearly disagrees with us and wants to listen to the whole episode anyway. They're locked in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they just comment in real time.
It's usually like the weirdest shit where it's like, did I even say anything about that?
They comment in real time about strange things. I'll never forget that. Yeah. I'll never forget Nipple Guy.
Nipple Guy.
I don't know if his comments are still there, but they
actually do get a rush of blood.
Yeah.
And they do darken. Frank Herbert did nothing wrong.
We mentioned on a Dune episode that it was weird.
Several, because Frank Herbert kept mentioning it.
It was weird that Frank Herbert would call out female arousal via the darkening of the nipples. And I was like, that's just not something I've ever observed. Maybe I've never been in bright enough light. Maybe I'm just not very good at it. I don't know. But it's not something I've noticed in my own adventures. And I thought it was a weird thing for Frank Herbert to say. But this guy, he didn't like a lot of the things about Dune, but that was the one that he was done. He commented on 3 different episodes that it's a biological fact that they get darker, and you're a fool for saying it's weird. You're a fool for saying that description of female arousal is strange. And I was like, okay. I think I replied neat.
I think you comment neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to do with that information, man. I'm going to stand by it was a weird thing to say. Now you can go out and survey. I'm going to ask you to survey some women though, just to get a sample size here. 10 random people, at least 3 of them women, and let me know if they think that's a weird way to describe arousal. But that's not what happened for the comments you're talking about. The comments you're talking about were on a Goosebumps episode, and we must have said something about the Book It program. And Michelle Obama changing school lunches.
Oh, yeah, that's where it came from. Yeah. And someone took that as, I guess we hate the Obamas.
Yeah, for the record, I voted for Obama twice. So,
yeah,
I don't, I'm going to ask you to use your best. Now, this might not have been a native English speaker.
I would have voted for him again if there weren't term limits, Ben.
I don't know.
Especially over Trump.
Well, God, yeah. I mean, well, I was going to say, I don't know if it's a native English speaker because they did call him Presidente Obama. But
you can make spelling errors.
But
it's YouTube.
I don't know how we come off to people because I would have thought it was obvious that I don't actually have passionate thoughts about Michelle Obama's school lunch program. I would have thought it would be...
I wonder if we said, thanks, Obama, at the end of it.
I would have thought it would be relatively obvious that that was just a throwaway line in an episode, but I don't know. But no, my question for you, actually, I'm calling you out. Because I knew this was going to happen, and I purposely didn't say anything. Have you listened to any of the Odyssey episodes that I've edited?
No, Ben.
I know you didn't. Nate, because I had special intro music. I had special Greek intro and outro music for the Odyssey. And when you
Wow.
edited part 3, I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to wait to see if you asked me for that music, and you didn't. And you just put the normal one on. And I don't know if anyone else listening to this, I don't know if anyone's still listening to this.
It's part 3 of a series, and now we're on part 4 of a series, Ben.
And that's when I can just talk about other shit because no one's here.
Yeah, that's why we brought up our interactive podcast. If you comment on the YouTube, then we start talking to you like magic.
I wish I could I wish you could set it up such that when somebody commented, I could randomly put them on a slightly different version of the same podcast. I wouldn't know what they said. I wouldn't plan for it that much, but I'd prepare like an A, B, and C version of the podcast. And every time you comment, you're going to switch between timelines. Anyway.
All right, we're going to be the House of Leaves of podcasts now.
We already are. Dude, we went so ham on those House of Leaves episodes, and no one appreciates it.
No one appreciates them.
What we did.
Yeah. It's because we didn't hold their hand and wipe their ass, or whatever Will Wheaton said.
Every time I think about that book, my wife was watching. I don't even know if we're going to talk about the Odyssey today. My wife was watching this video, and this guy started talking about the Davidson record as if it were a real thing.
God.
And he started talking. I'm like, this is House of Leaves. And she's like, no, I think he's talking about what it was based on. And I was like, no, he's not.
There's no real thing that was based on. That's part of the, yeah.
And he's like, now there was a video that took the internet by storm called the 5.5 Minute Hallway. And he shows some video that somebody made. Or maybe it was AI. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, AI generated shit. Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't real. This is House of Leaves. She's like, well, let's see how this plays out. I think it might be the thing it's based on. And I was like, okay. We watch, and I'm like, I start telling her what's going to happen next. And eventually she agreed and shut it off. That's my House of Leaves story. Okay. The Odyssey.
Yeah, there was that Doom mod that did it so much better.
Honest to God, the Doom mod was good.
Yeah. I actually rewatched that a few months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was solid. But anyway, the Odyssey.
Odyssey. All right, so last time Odysseus had finished successfully getting all the people in his crew that he liked to safety on Calypso's island. And then he eventually got off, and that's the end of his story to the Phaeacians. And he's like, and that's my story, how I bravely didn't kill the cattle of the sun god, so I didn't get smited. Yes, I did swim for several days at one time, and I did hold onto an olive tree for 12 hours. That's just how jacked I am, even in my old age. Anyway.
You're going to want to picture me as a real Matt Damon type.
Oh, God, is that who plays
That's who plays Odysseus in the upcoming...
I'm sorry. All I can think of
Christopher Nolan
is
epic.
Him in the South Park movie, the Team America, World Police, where he's just Matt Damon because his puppet was fucked up.
I think about him in another Christopher Nolan movie playing Dr. Mann. And in that movie, we learn that, in fact, the real monster was Dr. Mann. And that is not meant to be funny.
Is that for real? Is this a real movie?
Yes.
It sounds like a parody by Red Letter Media.
It does.
I can just imagine Mike coming out in his lab coat saying that he's Dr. Man.
Interstellar is a movie.
Oh my god! That's Interstellar?
That's Interstellar.
Oh my god.
It is a movie where that guy...
Wait, he was in Interstellar and The Martian?
Yes.
Wow.
And
now he's Odysseus.
Science. When I think of a brilliant man, I think of Matt Damon. Because god damn it, someone in Hollywood is determined for that to be Matt Damon's role, even though he's not very good at it. But that's okay. These are the kinds of things you think about after you've been on a very long journey. And you've been alone for a while. You've your mind wanders. It starts picking things apart. You just want to get home. You just want to be done.
Yeah.
And the Phaeacians, they're going to give him all these gifts. They're going to set him up so much better. They're going to give him so much more money than he ever would have got from pillaging Troy. It's okay that he pillaged a bunch of innocent civilians and then
they were Trojan.
Sank their life savings to the bottom of the ocean in his...
They were Trojan.
Incompetence. And
they had it coming. They were Trojan. That's what you get for being aligned with a guy who stole or seduced a woman that I was pledged to defend. So, that's on you. That's on you for being...
to defend?
I think Odysseus didn't want to go to Troy, but Agamemnon, there we go. Got it on the first try. He and Menelaus were like, well, you swore an oath, so, you're going.
Never swear an oath.
Yeah. That's a big whoopsie on his part.
Can you do that if they call you in court and they're like, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Can you just be like, no?
I don't think you can.
No, I don't.
I actually want to lie, so I want to keep that option available.
I don't swear oaths. It's just not what I do.
Yeah, I think they would throw you out of the courtroom or hold you in contempt.
Well.
So Odysseus should pick that option. Then he wouldn't have had to go to Troy. He would have just had to pay a fine and maybe write an essay to the judge. But anyway, he's going on that Phaeacian ship. He's going home, and Poseidon is like, wait, what the fuck is this? He was supposed to return... First of all, he wasn't supposed to return home. But if he did, he's supposed to return home a poor, broke-ass motherfucker, okay? And now he's just got a ship full of treasure? I am going to kill all of the Phaeacians right now. And Zeus is like, no, hold on. I'm Zeus, god of, let's say, mercy. That's what I'm doing.
You want to know
How about instead you just scare the shit out of them?
You want to know what Zeus is the god of, though, that we've been told in this very text?
What, Ben?
Hospitality.
Well, maybe for men. I don't know.
Okay, but the point is, Odysseus, he's the god of the stranger. He's the god of the guest. Zeus is the one who enforces guest right. And the people who are the very best at guest right are the Phaeacians. And they did exactly what Zeus told them to do. And they took care of this guy.
Well, guess what? Apparently the Phaeacians forever after will not like strangers, because Poseidon turns a boat to stone in their harbor. It scares the shit out of them.
Well, okay. So this is a little unclear in the text. Poseidon says he's going to drop a mountain in their harbor, which I guess locks them on this island. Is that the implication? I don't really know. And then we don't know if he actually does that.
Oh, mine said he turns a boat to stone in their harbor, and it's a warning sign to them that they pissed off Poseidon.
That's not what he does. What he does is they take Odysseus, this crew. They take Odysseus. They row so fast. Phaeacians are just awesome. They take Odysseus. They carry him onto the beach and they pile all his shit around him. He's still passed out from their magic spell. And then they like, kiss him on the cheek, and then they get back in their boat and they row all the way back. And as they're speeding back, he raises a rock in the harbor and smashes that ship. That ship smashes right into it, and they're like, "Oh shit!" Like everybody's on the shore waving to these guys, and he just kills them. And then
Zeus, I kind of think you should have had her back on this one,
right?
Athena and Zeus. I think maybe you should have had her back on this one.
Athena purposely said she's not involved. Athena literally says that she knows better than to. When there will be a moment where Odysseus asks Athena, "Where the fuck have you been, my patron?" And she's like, "Hey, I'm not going to fight with Poseidon." Okay, that guy is the god of the ocean and earthquakes for some reason. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I got you off there. Don't worry about it. The Phaeacians, they'll be fine. I don't even know if he did drop that mountain on him because we cut away before I could find out. But yeah, Zeus sucks.
Yeah. You're supposed to have our backs. We did the whole guest right thing. That's your thing. And we got punished for it. What a dick.
Yeah.
You know what? No more guest right. Next time a guy washes up on shore, we're going to eat him.
There's been a couple of I think I was reading that some translators,
maybe Poseidon should stop having monster children. How about that?
No can do. Deal breaker.
Deal breaker.
If I can't have weird monster children, then I'm not part of this pantheon. I'm going my own way. I'm starting my own thing. And you know what? I got a lot of monster children lined up to take those roles. So no, it's I was reading that a lot of, or not a lot of, there were some ancient translators who like attempted to cut the parts that don't make sense out of the text. Like they're like, oh, well, this means that the god would be inconsistent and do the opposite of the thing.
What?
That they're supposed
God's
to do.
being inconsistent. Come on.
And they would just be like, so because it's inconsistent, it must not be part of the original text.
Have you heard stories about Zeus?
Yeah.
I'm god of the guest right. I am now going to plow your wife.
I got to imagine.
And get her pregnant, and then have my wife's going to find out, get pissed, and kill both of you and the child.
We've talked about it before, but bringing Christianity to pagan Greece must have been like the easiest sell in the world. One guy, maybe three. All he wants you to do is kind of love people, and you got to say you're sorry if you do anything wrong. And
deal.
They're like, okay,
I don't even have to kill a goat,
but
and
like
drain its blood. And
how many of our women is he going to force himself on? None. Virgin. Whew. Okay, I'm in.
Deal.
What's this guy want? Like, how many cows I got to burn to him? Oh, we don't do that.
You just have to go to church on Sunday.
10% in the collection plate, but no. I don't know if it's. I guess it probably was a law at one point that you had to do that, but nobody's gonna know. You drop a 20 in there, nobody's gonna know. So he makes it back, and he's hanging out on the beach, unconscious. And
all hot and sweaty.
I believe Athena comes to him.
Yes. Athena's like, I got a plan and some more disguises from my disguise kit.
And that's when he's like, and where the fuck were you? And she's like, hey, look, you want to fight Poseidon? I didn't want to fight Poseidon. Okay. Sometimes we got to use our brains, Odysseus. And that's what I'm doing right now. Now, what I'm going to need you to do start picking up treasure. We're going to put that treasure in that cave over there, because you're not just going home. You're not just going home with a bunch of treasure. Odysseus, there's some things that have been going on around here. I don't know if you know this, but there's some things that have been going on around here. Okay. Your wife, like 25 dudes are trying to seduce her, and she's beating them off with a stick, but like,
poor choice of words.
I genuinely,
She's remained faithful. That makes one of you, by the way.
I genuinely don't. Yeah, and it's weird that Athena's on his side with this. I genuinely don't know why she can't just tell them to fuck off. That's not clear.
Because of that guest right that Zeus cares about so much.
It's not clear. They're not even guests. They live down the street. This is bullshit.
Well, some of them are, I thought, kings of other islands.
Yeah, some of them, okay. Look, not everyone has as much trouble with a boat as Odysseus, okay? You could sail to these other islands in like a day or two.
My question is, why the fuck did they not sail to Troy?
Right, there's a lot of questions here. And Homer...
Get your ass in the ship and start fighting.
Homer clearly expects this to make sense to you, because he does not explain it at all. But I'm sitting here 3,000 years later with some questions, Homer. And I don't know. But anyway, we're going to have to do some crazy shenanigans. So here's what I'm going to do, Odysseus. I'm going to do magic you're an old man. Okay, so you look like an old man now. And I'm going to magic away your fine clothes that they gave you. And I'm going to magic some rags onto you. He's like, oh, but the Phaeacians gave me those. I'm going to have to go say hi to those guys and thank them. And she's like, no, never go back. And then what we're going to do is I've got Telemachus out running around. Oh shit, I gotta go get Telemachus.
Yeah.
So okay, hang on.
Wait, why did I send him out? What was the reason for that? Because I kind of thought that we sent Telemachus out so that he would, maybe get your old friends to help out. But
shut up. Just shut up. Everything's gonna work out. Okay. Do you remember when? Oh, Odysseus, I gotta tell you this. Hold
on. All right.
When I was with Telemachus, talking to Menelaus, I was disguised as a young page boy, my favorite disguise. And Menelaus is like, oh man, I wish that god Athena were here. And I was like, I'm going to give him a little show. And then I was just like, boom, form of hawk. And I flew away. Blew his fucking mind, Odysseus. You should have seen him. So
why?
Anyway, Odysseus, so here's what we got to do, man. I'll get Telemachus. I forget where I sent him, but I can run pretty fast. I'll find him. So then what we're going to do, you need to start scouting out allies. A lot of your household has turned against you in the 20 years that you've been gone. I have to imagine at least some of them weren't even
20 years
when you left. I don't know.
Or
10 years, whatever. I don't know. You've been gone forever, dude. So you're going to have to go figure out who's still loyal to you. We're going to have to get in there, get you in on the inside. You're going to pretend to be a beggar. We're going to see who treats you good, who honors the guest right. Because
And then Poseidon can kill them for daring to honor.
No, it doesn't count. You made it to base. Poseidon, you can't.
Oh, okay.
You can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, he can't. He commands the oceans, but not like the islands on the ocean. As soon as you're on land, it's like shit.
Also earthquakes.
So
the oceans and most of the land. But he can't touch you in Ithaca.
Yeah, that's true.
That's your domain. So we're gonna have you go in there. You're gonna talk to some people, figure out who's on your side, figure out what you're gonna do. I'll give you a hint. The swineherd is awesome. You're gonna want to check out that guy. Start there, see who else is on your side. And he does that. He heads to his farms. Now, locations keep changing. People come and go from different places all the time that weren't there the last time I looked. But what I gather is the farms are nearer to the beach than the town. Like the town's in the middle of the island,
Yeah,
and then
that makes
Odysseus
sense.
has farms around the town, and Odysseus's main residence is in the town.
Yeah.
And so Odysseus heads to the farm, and he talks to the swineherd, who has a name.
Oh, he does?
Yes.
Shit.
Eumaeus. Eumaeus is the swineherd. So he goes to old Eumaeus and he's like, Eumaeus. He doesn't know. I mean, guy I've never met. I'm an old beggar man. What do you got for me? You gonna be cool? You gonna be a dick? And Eumaeus is like, oh, dude, I love guests. And I'll tell you what, it's a good thing you came here. And that you didn't go straight to the house, because those suitors, it's just a bunch of fucking dicks, guy. Like, there's just a whole bag of dicks. And they would never have gotten away with the shit they get away with. Come here, I'm going to slaughter a whole pig that we're going to just sit down and eat for a while. So he kills a yearling. That seemed harsh. There was a whole conversation in the Discord about animal rights as related to the Odyssey, and my translation is really wants you to know it was a baby animal that he
Yeah, you're my victim.
it was a yearling that he victimized. But you don't, I mean, like a whole pig, that's a lot of pig to eat, just you and me. We'll kill another one if we need to. Like, if we're still hungry later, we'll go kill another one. So I don't want to waste, these are my master's pigs. He's probably dead in a ditch somewhere, but I hold out hope that he's going to come back. And I imagine they're having this conversation as like a pig screaming and he's slitting its throat. And, he's like, yeah, so I tell you, these suitors, man, they're just a whole bag of dicks. But where are you from? What's your deal? And Odysseus concocts an elaborate story about how he's from what's the Minotaur place? Crete.
Yeah.
He's from Crete, and his father was a king, and he went and he fought with he was in the Trojan War, and he made a good name for himself there, but he got a little greedy, he got beaten up, he lost all his men. Now he's come here as a beggar, but he knows Odysseus is still alive. And I tell you, Odysseus is coming back. And the swineherd's like, I wish I could believe you, man. But it's been 10 years.
And they've heard this before. This isn't the first time someone's been like, yeah, I know he's alive. He's on his way.
Yeah, they keep saying he's on his way, but like, I mean, God, he could have circumnavigated the globe in the time it took him to get here. It's not that far apart.
He could have made it. Yeah, he could have made it all the way to India. I think we know about India.
We know about India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the way to India, which is on the other side of the globe.
I think they actually knew. I don't know. I don't know when this was written. The Greeks had a pretty good idea of how big the Earth was, but I think they ran into a problem where I forget, it might have been Aristotle who proposed that. I think he had the right size of the Earth, but proposed that exploration of the whole thing was impossible because you would have to go through like the death zone that is the middle of the planet. And he thought that was a death zone because I guess like the further south you go from the Mediterranean, the hotter and more desolate it becomes until you're like in the Sahara. Yeah. And he assumed that trend would just continue.
Just did that forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually you would be like on the surface of the sun.
Yeah. And then he thought it would eventually get better, but you'd have to get through like the hot middle part. So
yeah, it must really have been nice to be on a Mediterranean island, just nice, temperate all the time.
I tell you what, if you ever want to understand that like progress is not a straight line, read this ancient Greek stuff and then go read some Old Norse stuff.
They lived in a much harsher climate.
Shit went well backwards for those guys. They should have stopped walking north a long time before. There are so many places they should have stopped. But
yeah, when the rocks just jutted out of the ocean in a straight line upward, you probably should have been like, yep, no, we're turning around.
Every once in a while, a whale washes up on shore, and I read something. There was a law about who gets to eat a whale that was in. I want to say it was Iceland, and that law was originally put on the books in the 1500s, and a whale washed up in like 2010, and they had to consult an ancient tome to find out what the policy actually was about who got.
I think at that point, let's just make some new laws.
No.
I looked it up. Aristotle actually thought the Earth was about 60% larger than it was.
Oh shit!
But he did think it was a sphere, unlike Ptolemy, who thought it was flat, I believe.
Cuboid.
Or no, yeah. Ptolemy thought it was the center of the universe. That's right. Stupid science bitch.
Yeah. The Norse think it's a series of concentric circles.
And that life is pain and misery, and
well, they know that. They don't theorize about that. That's why they're not trying very hard to survive. Everybody wants to die in battle because it's that, or you walk off into the winter to ease the burden of your family.
Mediterranean back then.
They knew.
I guess that's why a lot of them became Varangian guards in the Byzantine Empire.
Bring that up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Constantinople. It's right on the Mediterranean, Black Seas. Nice.
I forget. Did you see they found that there was some Byzantine. I don't know if it's a church or if it's a mosque now, but it was some ancient like Byzantine cathedral. And they found Viking runes carved in one of the benches. And it literally just says something like, I forget what it is. It's like Olaf carved these
Rolf
runes.
Was here or something? Yeah.
That's all it says.
Yeah. It's good to know that graffiti like that still existed back then. You go to like a playground, I assume that playgrounds that you were on in like elementary school, people carve shit in that all the time, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they're still doing it to this day. I took my daughter to a playground yesterday, and there's marker and carvings of like, oh, so and so was here 2024, so and so heart so and so, like, just something about it. Something about humans that you got to do that shit.
You want to make the moment, you want to carve them into the world to prove that we were here.
Yeah.
I like to rely on my carbon footprint. But
I rely on my methane footprint.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. So he talks. All right. He talks to the swineherd, and they're jamming for a while. I like to imagine they just keep killing and roasting pigs, and this goes on for some time. Days. He's hanging out with the swineherd. He's like killing and roasting pigs. And they don't do anything either. Like other dudes come back, they like take the pigs out to like root around the forest and stuff because they're not like feeding them. It's just like, yeah, I don't grow a bunch of stuff to feed animals, so here, go forage. And the other swineherds, they take the pigs out to forage, and this guy just hangs out in the swineherd's house, and they're just talking and eating pigs. And meanwhile, Athena looking around for Telemachus, and Telemachus is eventually just like, shit, how long have I been here? I gotta go. Dude, hitch up the chariot. We gotta go. And they do that. And they start heading back. And he turns to the chariot guy and he's like, your dad, Nestor, he's kind of a talker. You know, if I go, I got to get back home. I got to talk to my, I got a feeling. I have a feeling some shit's about to go down. Meanwhile, there's like a hawk wheeling above going, go home. You gotta go home.
Is it snowing? Is that hawk just releasing snow on us? What is that?
Don't inhale too much. You don't have any tolerance. And so he's like, I don't want to stop at your dad's on the way back. And the guy's like, no, my dad would totally keep you there for like a week. No, you don't want to do that. And he's like, so what I'll do is I'll like drop you at your ship and I'll go back and I'll tell my dad you said hi. And I'll see if that'll hold him. And so he does that. And as he's telling his dad, hey, Telemachus, he says hi, but you know, he had to go. He didn't want to stop. And Nestor's like, no, what? No, get him back here. We are having I have a whole week of festivities planned. There were going to be games, the nudist of wrestling, feasts.
The only way to do it.
And no, you got to go get him back. Guards, go get Telemachus before his ship leaves. And then they run to go get to.
This was all cut from my version.
They run to go get to.
You're shocked,
dude. This is so much of the. I can't tell you how long he's just hanging out. And I know they don't have marijuana, but like, it really feels like the swineherd is a pothead. Because they just hang out and talk and eat pigs. And then Telemachus is getting ready to get on his ship. And there's all these dudes coming to get him into like a feast he doesn't want to go to. The stakes have really changed. But there's another character introduced here at the tail end of the saga, the godlike seer Theoclymenus.
Is he also blind?
He's not blind.
Oh my god.
But he does say to Telemachus, I killed a guy.
What?
He's like, hey, are you guys leaving the country? And they're like, why, yes, stranger. We are leaving the country. Do you need to leave the country? And he's like, yeah, I just killed a guy. Just like you, I too have left my land. Because I killed a man of my own tribe. But he has many brothers and kin in Argos, Stallion land, who rule the plains in force. Fleeing death at their hands is a dismal fate. I am a fugitive now, doomed to wander across this mortal world. So take me aboard, hear a fugitive's prayer. Don't let them kill me. They're after me. Well, I know. To which Telemachus says, so desperate. How could I drive you from my ship? Come, sail with us. We'll tend you at home with all we can provide. It's what Zeus would want us to do. He doesn't say that last bit, but yeah, Telemachus is like, killed a guy, get in.
Hey, it turns out we are going to need to kill a lot of guys, so you might come in handy, actually.
He doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
So he's like, sailors, we've got a dangerous drifter. It's a lucky day. And
sacrifice him to Poseidon.
And then, that bright-eyed Pallas Athena is like, falls out of the sky, changed out of the hawk form a little too fast, lands like in the ship. It rocks a bit, and she stands up. She's like, Telemachus, I forgot to tell you. There's some dudes who are going to kill you. There are some dudes waiting in a boat.
We covered that bit already. Yeah.
They're going to kill you, so veer to the right. When you travel back, you're going to want to veer to the right. There's going to be a ship with black sails in the middle of it waiting to kill you. Don't go there. And he doesn't. He makes it home safe, and that was like a whole non-issue.
Yeah.
So Telemachus lands.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, by the way, talk to the swineherd. Telemachus lands, and he walks up to the swineherd, and he's like, oh, I forget your name already. Eumaeus?
You and
Eumaeus.
me, us, or something.
Eumaeus.
Yeah, you,
You.
me, us.
Eumaeus. That's how I remember it. Oh, God. You practically raised me, you old pig man. So, I see you got a little roommate there.
For some reason, whenever I hear you, me, us, I picture the guy, taking his index finger and putting it into his other hand, like in an open circle. Like you, me, us. Like, anyway.
Okay.
Go on.
We have different experience with farmhands. Telemachus is like, so who's your friend here? And he's like, oh, this is what's his nuts from Crete. He's a dangerous drifter. And Telemachus is like, I got one of those. And they talk for a bit, and Odysseus is like, hey, Telemachus, can I talk to you privately inside? And he's like, yeah, you can. And he's like, so, Telemachus, what kind of, if you had to describe your qualities as a son in like 5 words or less, what would that be?
Mopey.
Oh. Are you good at sports? Is there a reason there's 25 guys trying to bang your mom and you haven't kicked their ass?
Well, yeah, I can't beat off 25 guys all on my own.
Well, good news, sport. Daddy's home. We're going to beat off all those guys.
We're going to make direct eye contact the whole time.
And Odysseus reveals himself to Telemachus. He's like, I'm your dad. Telemachus is like, I've been waiting for this moment my whole life, and now I don't know what to say. And he's like, nothing a hug can't fix. Because we're Greek men, and we hug, and we cry, and we oil ourselves up, and then we go kill another pig. Eumaeus, what are you doing here? I don't smell pig blood.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I gotta keep my protein up.
So they kill another pig, and they eat it, and they come up with another plan. They're like, we're gonna go back to the house with the suitors, and Odysseus is like, okay, there's so much just hanging out at the farm. Odysseus goes back to the house with the suitors, and they're mean to him. They pick on him for being an old beggar. They tell him to get a job, pull, bootstraps.
Yeah. I know I've been eating here for free for the last decade, but like you eating here for free, fucking gross.
You weren't even
you just
born
want a
wealthy.
handout. Yeah. You disgust me.
Yeah, and they say a lot of stuff to him, like real Republican talking points, like nobody wants to work anymore. You'd rather be a beggar. Oh, it's so convenient for you being a beggar. You're just a beggar because you don't want to work. You could get a job, but you don't want a job. Oh, and then there's this one guy who's like the shepherd. Oh, the shepherd's a real dick. the shepherd, he cozies up to the suitors. He makes sure they have the best sheep, the finest sheep of Odysseus's flock. He's like, Odysseus is dead. He's never coming back. I might as well get in good with the suitors, who, again, in a confusing point, are not going to be taking over this house. If they marry his mom, they will be taking the mom away from this house, which is a point Telemachus clears up when he says he's reluctant to force his mom out of her own house by forcing her to marry someone.
Okay.
And
I don't understand your strange customs, but I'm sure they make sense to you, and that's what matters.
yeah, it's a weird problem. And so when they go back, Telemachus is treating this hobo like he's a person, and that
That's why he's just not fit to rule.
that doesn't sit well with the suitors. But there's a cow guy, a cowboy, a cow herd. Oh God, he's another named character. I think we might just have to call him the cowboy.
Is it Philotius? Philotius, the cowherd on Ithaca? Loyal servant to Odysseus, who assists him in fighting the suitors?
Yes, Philotius. Or no.
Philotius.
No, I'm sorry. Felicius is how you should say that. So Felicius, also cool. He's like, man, I miss Odysseus. He's awesome. But fortunately, nobody can see through Odysseus's disguise until Odysseus comes on his loyal hound, who was just a puppy when Odysseus left. But he recognizes his master, and he almost gives the entire game away before, in a final act of animal cruelty, he tries to stand up and dies immediately. Don't know why.
Way to go.
Don't know why Homer felt the need to include that.
He held on until the very end, and as soon as he saw his master, he could die happy.
And Odysseus he's like, don't come to me, boy. And then the dog dies with a smile on his face, and Odysseus just has to bite his hand and try not to cry. And it's like, you didn't have to do that. You didn't need to just kill a dog for no reason. Anyway, they're having a feast because they have feasts all the time. And Telemachus, I might tell some things out of order at this point, but I'm just going to tell you them in the order they occur to me.
Yep.
In the spirit of the oral tradition. Telemachus is making sure that Odysseus is, in his old man garb is getting some good food. He's getting some good scraps and stuff. And Odysseus even goes around to beg for scraps to see which of the suitors will give him scraps. But they keep interrupting to remind us that won't save these guys. These guys are all fucking dead. But they decide they're going to play a little joke on Odysseus. And they get the other local bum from Ithaca to come in.
He also doesn't want to work. But unlike...
And talk about another thing that's been happening since the dawn of time. A bunch of rich kids arrange bum fights. That was a big thing in the late 90s, early 2000s. They tell this guy, like, hey, there's another beggar crouching in on your territory. Why don't you fight him?
Here's a beer bottle. Break it off and start going at him.
And Odysseus is like, I'll fight you. Are you sure? And this guy's bigger. This guy appears bigger than him. He's like, I'm going to take your fucking head off, guy. You're nuts. And Odysseus is like, well, let's see. And he rolls up his little skirts. And I want to point out that my version says that as Odysseus's thighs are revealed.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to get nude for
one
this
of the guys says, look at the hams on that old man.
No fucking way.
Dead as the kids would say, dead ass.
Oh my god!
Look at the
that is
hands
a
on that old man.
crazy translation.
That is an amazing translation. I don't know
That
why
is
more people
crazy.
I don't know why more people don't like this. So Odysseus has powerful thighs. Unfortunately, this is a boxing match. So the other guy is still like, well, okay, as long as I keep my head from between his thighs, I should be okay.
No deal.
And Odysseus is like, keep dreaming. I'm gonna crack your melon like a walnut. I guess you could crack a melon as well, like a melon. But that's not what he does. Odysseus beats the shit out of him. Odysseus punches him so hard that he's like, oh, I hope I didn't kill him. Odysseus thinks about it. He thinks in his noodle, I'm going to punch this guy. I don't normally, King Odysseus. I don't normally do the Bruce Wayne thing of, putting on my fancy sci-fi armor and beating up the homeless, but I've had a bad day. I've been relentlessly mocked,
and I have held on to a fig tree for 12 hours strength. So
yeah, so I'm gonna punch him. How hard should I punch him? Should I just kill him? Should I put my fist through his face, or should I pull the punch ever so slightly? Should I maybe let him win? And then as he's thinking like, I wonder if I should let him win, he finds his fist is already covered in blood and he's knocked the guy across the room. And he's like, oh.
Whoops.
Huh. Lucky shot. And I forget the exact order of events for how this happens. But Odysseus gets the hospitality of the house because, again, that's what Zeus would want. All the pious people are like, we got to be nice to this hobo, which is, of course, Telemachus and his mom are like, we got to be nice to this hobo. And they have one of the old maids, I guess literally an old maid, an elderly female servant, bathe the old man.
Yeah.
Because Odysseus he does say, he's like, I don't want any young women to bathe this old body because they'll just make fun of me. Give me the oldest woman you've got. But she, the oldest woman they've got, was in fact Odysseus's wet nurse. And she's known that boy his entire life. And she remembers that day 30 years ago when he went hunting and a boar stuck its tusk through his mighty hams.
Mighty hams.
And she, as she's bathing him, sees the scar on his thigh. And she's like, it's you, you son of a bitch. And he's like, shut the fuck up. She's like, I gotta go tell Penelope. She's gonna be, you have no idea, dude. She's been crying herself to sleep every day for 10 years, waiting for you.
Yeah, me too.
He's like, it's been as hard for me.
Also been
it's
doing
been
that.
as hard for me as it has been for her. Okay, like none of us enjoyed any of our time. Okay, and he grabs her and he's like, if you tell Penelope right now, I don't care if you are the mother I never had, I am gonna do you like I did that bum. And she's like, fine, I won't tell. But you're going to kill these guys, right? He's like, hell yes, I'm going to kill these guys. I'm going to kill all these guys. And he's like, just keep your mouth shut. I got a plan. Comes from Athena herself, probably. She kind of just told me to talk to the swine guy. Didn't really tell me what to do after that. But I've eaten a lot of pigs, so I think we're getting close.
I'm going to build a giant wooden pig. We're going to leave it outside the house.
And Penelope learns that this old man might have some news about Odysseus. And she talks to him, and he's like, I'm telling you the truth. Your husband, he's on his way. And when he gets here, he's going to kill all these guys who have been making fun of me.
He...
He's going to especially kill Jeff. Jefficus.
Gonna go all Quentin Tarantino on them.
He might do it with his bare goddamn hands. You know? But anyway, no, I assume that's what he would do. Based on what I know of him, which is a lot. And she's like, oh, that's so happy. She's like, because I was really thinking about just throwing it in. I was going to have one last test where I line up a bunch of axes, and I guess these axes have like a decorative.
Oh, in my version, they tell her to do this test.
Well, they eventually tell her to do it as well, but it's her idea.
Ah.
She's like, I'm going to line up a bunch of axes, and I'm going to see if they can shoot Odysseus's bow. If they could even string
it too.
Yeah. And shoot an arrow through all the axes. And Odysseus is like, you should totally do that. You know what? I was looking for a sign from Bright-Eyed Pallas Athena, who is probably at the feast in disguise. Look for the one with the mountain of white powder. And
it's ambrosia, guys. It's
ambrosia. You dry it out, you let it sit in the sun, and it evaporates, and it turns into a fine white powder that gives you the energy you need to tackle the day, which is an incarnate god, if you're me. So anyway, he's like, yeah, definitely do that. That'll be the start of things. Big things. Wonderful things. Telemachus, I want you to gather up everybody's armor and weapons. They're leaving them all laying about. They're drunk. They could start a fight. We want to make sure that they're out of the way, that they're safe kept. You know, nothing's going to get on them. I want you to put them all in a room that only you have the key to. Cowman, Pigman, you really want Odysseus back? You really want these suitors gone? They're like, oh, more than anything, sir. But, I mean, if only we could. And he's like, what would you be willing to do? What would you be willing to do if Odysseus was back right now?
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
And they're like, well, I guess we'd have to help him get rid of these suitors. He's like, good news. Daddy's home. And they're like, well, how can we be sure it's you? And he's like, look at this. And he lifts up his skirt. And they're like, they are impressive hams, sir, but I don't know. And he's like, no, you idiot. It's the scar that I got from when the boar gouged me all those years ago. Come on, you all were there. And he's like, holy shit. That's as good as a fucking real ID where we're from. So we're in. You just say the word. And he's like, okay, you're going to know when it's time. Okay. I'm going to give you when it's time, guys, I'm going to give you all a knowing nod. It's going to be very subtle. And, Ocean's 11 kind of stuff. Okay. And I think Athena eventually comes to him, and she's like, it's all going according to plan. Yes. And he's like, Athena, it is still like 4 guys versus 25. Are you sure we can do this? She's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, no. I'll be there. Don't worry about it.
No, fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll kill these dudes. Don't worry about it. All you got to do is have faith in me. Have faith in me. Really just give into your anger. Give into your hate. And we're going to kill the shit out of these dudes. And then Odysseus is like, okay.
Palpatine Athena?
Yeah, he's like, okay, I don't know. I don't really have an end game, though. I mean, they're like all powerful lords, and they have armies and stuff. She's like, we'll wing it. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about that. He's like, okay, you're kind of telling me what I want to hear, so let's do it. And then the time of the trial comes, where Penelope is like, well, suitors, I'm finally ready to choose a man. It will be the man who can string my beloved Odysseus's bow and fire an arrow through all of these axes. Though I should warn you, this is a bow that could only be strung and fired by the strongest of men.
A real man.
Only.
With those hams.
Only a real man with thighs that could crush you in their embrace. Sorry, I wandered off there for a bit. And then Telemachus is like...
Now I know why Calypso wanted that.
Telemachus is like, Mother dear, I shall be the first to try. Maybe we could put an end to all this right now. Maybe Telemachus can shoot the bow, and then I'll just claim my own mother. And it's not a sex thing, guys. I want you gone, so I'm going to try to shoot the thing. Telemachus tries to string the bow. He tries to bend it, get a string around it. String snaps. He's like, no, I got it. Can't quite bend it down. Well, this thing's broken. This thing sucks. I'm done. And Odysseus is like, well, maybe I can fix him. And then the other suitors try, and one by one, they fail to even string the bow. The strongest among them, a giant dude, fails to string the bow, and they're like, Odysseus is like, raises his old man hand. He's like, maybe I could try. And they're like, no. He's like, what, are you afraid to let an old man try? And they're like, I mean, have you seen those fucking hams? Like, the arms don't look like much, but if they're anything like the hams, then shit. This guy's been consuming nothing but pig protein for the last 3 weeks. They're like, no, we're not going to let him try. We're going to go out. We're going to hit the vitamin store. We're going to get some of that, gas station steroids that they haven't quite, they haven't been around long enough to ban yet. And we'll come back and we'll just do it tomorrow. And he's like, I'm going to try the bow. And the old man walks up without their permission. He takes the bow and he bends it like it's a toy and plops a string on it. And then he picks up an arrow. He fires it through all the axes. And that's when they're like, oh shit, this might be Odysseus. And then he picks up another arrow. There's a lot of arrows strewn about his feet. He made sure that happened. Picks up another arrow. He's like, well, guys, fuck you. And he starts shooting them. He starts shooting all of them, blowing them away with the sheer force of this bow. And then after he's taken out 3 or 4, one guy through the throat, choking on his own blood, whole room stops and stares at that for a second. And that's when he gives a subtle wink to his posse. It's time to start killing these guys. And they're like, oh shit, where's our armor, guys? Where's our spears and all that stuff? Why are all the doors locked? Because Odysseus had the old lady lock all the doors and get all the women folk out of there. And now he's got a bone to pick with them too. But I'll talk about that in a second. So he's like, Telemachus, go get the gear. And so Telemachus like puts on a bunch of armor. He grabs a bunch of spears and helmets and shields and stuff. And you know, he arms pig guy, he arms cow guy, and they form like a wall. And Telemachus is like, "Are you sure you're gonna be okay on your own, Dad? While I go get this stuff?" And he's like, "As long as I got arrows." He's like, "But I am running out of arrows, so like sooner would be better." And Telemachus gets all the stuff. They arm up. They get swords. They get spears, and they just start mowing dudes down. It's insane. It's described in graphic detail. Like each guy gets their own death. Telemachus takes out a few. Pig boy takes out a few. Cowboy takes out a few. But Odysseus is just blowing guys away. And eventually, some of the suitors are like, "Hey guys, no, we gotta like fucking work together, okay? We're all gonna throw our spears at once. You can't block all of them." And they all throw their spears at once, and then Athena pops up, bright-eyed Athena, veins bursting in her eyes, throws out her mighty shield, Aegis, and deflects them, and then she flies up. She just jumps into the rafters and starts crawling around like a spider monkey, and she's just blowing spears and arrows away as they fire at Odysseus, and just scampering around up top, and all the while they're just like killing these guys, and it's pretty intense. And then after a minute, they're it's the bard. The bard who'd been playing for these dudes all this time. He's just hiding under a table. He's like, "Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit." And then Odysseus throws the fucking table. And he runs up. He grabs Odysseus's knees and he's like, "Mercy, spare my life. Can't kill me. I'm a singer. All I do is sing, man. I just look, dude, I didn't even know. They were too strong. There were too many of them. They forced me to come here and sing. All I did was sing, dude. I didn't touch your livestock or your maids. Like I didn't do anything wrong." And Telemachus is like, hold on. That guy's cool." And Odysseus is like, "You got fucking lucky. You got real fucking lucky today. Now get the fuck out of my house." And he runs out of the house.
Yeah.
And there's one other guy. There's also a herald. And Odysseus is like, he's pretty cool too. Telemachus is like, wait, there's also one guy, the herald, Medon. Did we kill him already? Is he here? And this is literally how it goes. "Don't cut down Medon, the one who's always tended to me in the house when I was little. Spare him too, unless he's dead by now."
That would be a little bit of a whoopsie.
It'd be a little bit. I should have mentioned that before, but then he pops out. He was like hiding in an air vent or something, and he's like, "No, I'm alive." Or, "We sparing old Medon? Yeah, I knew I liked you, Telemachus. That's why I always did whatever I did for you. Words aren't coming so easy to old Medon right now. He's seeing some shit like you wouldn't believe." And Odysseus is like, "Fine, get out." And the two of them run out and really lived every day to the fullest after that. And then it's time for the old woman. And the old woman comes back and he's like, "So, the maids. You told me some of them are not great. Been sleeping with the suitors. Really
can't believe that they would try to court my wife and then sleep with someone else. It's a real dick move. I would never do that.
I would never tolerate that behavior in a woman." And he's like, "Well, I got she's like, should I go wake up Penelope now? Tell her you're back? And he's like, no, she waited 10 years. She can wait a little longer. What we're going to do, get all those women you don't like that were sleeping with these guys. You know what would be real funny? I want them to clean up the crime scene. Make them bury these dudes they were sleeping with. Have them dig a hole.
Have them look at the faces.
Yeah, well, what's left of it.
Burn that into their brain forever.
Pig guy, take that one dude's face off. Nobody told you to cut off faces. And then, so they do that. He makes them clean up the room, wash off all the blood. It's a dirt floor, so they just kind of bring in more dirt. It's weird how much detail it goes into about this. And he's just going to sleep in this house again, too. Like,
yeah. Why not? It's going to smell really, really bad soon, but yeah. Why not?
So I'm going to read this because it's fucking brutal. The women crowded in, huddling all together, wailing convulsively, streaming live, warm tears. First, they carried out the bodies of the dead and propped them under the courtyard colonnade, standing them one against the other. Odysseus shouted commands himself, moving things along, and they kept clearing out the bodies. They were forced. Next, they scrubbed down the elegant chairs and tables. And then at last, when the entire house was put in order, they marched the women out of the great hall, between the roundhouse and the courtyard's strong stockade, and crammed them into a dead end. No way out from there. And stern Telemachus, I can't wait to see young Tom Holland do this. And stern Telemachus gave the men their orders. No clean death for the likes of them, by God, not from me. They showered abuse on my head and my mother's too. This is the translation, this isn't me. You sluts, the suitors' whores. And with that, taking a cable used on a dark prowed ship, he coiled it over the roundhouse, lashed it fast to a tall column, hoisting it up so high no toes could touch the ground. Then, as doves or thrushes beating their spread wings against some snare rigged up in the thickets, flying in for a cozy nest but a grisly bed receives them, so the women's heads were trapped in a line, nooses yanking their necks up one by one, so they all might die a pitiful, ghastly death. They kicked up heels for a little, not for long. Yeah, aren't you looking forward to Tom Holland and Matt Damon murdering a bunch of young women, just watching them slowly choke to death as they turn, all shades of purple and blood vessels burst, and then they just stop moving and they just swing there for a little bit in the sunset. And then the funniest part was that in your book, by the way?
No.
They didn't put that in Hades too either. Now that I think about it. Oh boy. So he reveals himself to Penelope. First, he tries to test her because he's a dick. And then she tries to test him. And eventually he's like, but look, my leg thing. And they also have like some secret signs. And one of their secret signs, like the secret sign, is the bed. He asks some question about moving the bed. Or she asks some question about moving the bed.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can't move the bed. This entire house is built around the bed. The bed is a big old tree stump. I cut down a giant fucking tree, made it my bed, and built this whole house around it. And to his credit, and Penelope's credit, No one would ever think of that shit.
No.
No one was ever going to guess that. That is a really dumb thing to do.
He wanted to have a treehouse, Ben.
Yep. And then Odysseus is like, well, Telemachus, Penelope, so glad to be home. So glad to see you guys again, especially you, Penelope. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. And when we're talking about it, I want you to remember it was against my will. Now, and he does bang Penelope, by the way. They do bang.
Yeah.
It's canonical.
Obviously.
Yeah. So, Telemachus first. Your mother and I have some Greek style wrestling to do. I'll be back in a few.
Just remember, when you hear noises.
Unfortunately, the bed doesn't rock. The whole house kind of has to.
Yeah.
So, architectural quirk. You'll know one day when you're the master of the house, and that's your bed. Think a lot about how that's going to be your bed one day.
Yeah.
You were made on that bed. You'll die on that bed.
God damn right.
So we're going to have to talk, though. So he goes and reunites with Penelope. And he comes back out and he's like, okay, so we made a lot of enemies today. In fact, bring me that singer guy. Singer guy. Pretend the party's still going. I'm going to need you to sing real loud. Okay? Let's keep this charade up as long as we possibly can. Me, for my part, Penelope, I'm going to take off. I gotta go see my dad and see what we could do about rounding up a posse to fight off every surrounding nation that's going to come to try to kill us. But you know what?
Let's build a fleet of horses. Okay, we put them on the beach. We take one on each of them. It's like a free gift, right?
But the last book, I wonder if this is in your book, begins. Did he kill all the suitors in your book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They did murder every suitor.
Okay. Does yours feature them all going to hell?
No. We had to get that last one in there.
Yeah.
Not only did they die, they went to hell.
Yeah, Hermes, the guy who leads you, that ultimate psychopomp. Hermes the healer, which is, oh boy, an inappropriate thing to call him in this instance. He leads them down the dank, moldering paths, past the ocean streams, past the white rock and the sun's western gates, past the land of dreams, and soon they reached the fields of asphodel, where the dead, the burnt-out wraiths of mortals, make their home. And then they talk. This is like a whole thing. So they all show up in hell, and they're like, well, that sucked. And they're greeted by Achilles, Patroclus, fearless Antilochus, and of course the great Ajax. And they talk to Agamemnon. And Agamemnon's like, oh shit. How did you guys die? How did you guys get here? I remember you. You were so-and-so's kid. You were pretty awesome. They're like, yeah, well, Odysseus killed us. It's pretty epic in fashion now that I can stand back and look at it. retrospect, we probably should have known when we punched that homeless guy that things were not going well. Had him for a minute, and then Athena herself sort of descended down, and I'm going to call that cheating. I think I'm allowed to call that cheating. And Agamemnon's like, ha, 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 ha. Good old Odysseus. He really showed you guys, put you in your place. That's what you get for trying to come between a man and his wife. And I, Agamemnon, have actually a little bit of a problem with dudes coming between men and their wives, okay? Do you want to know how I got here? And they're all like, we all know how you got here. And he's like, I got here because my ex-wife, I'm going to call her my ex-wife, she fucking had me murdered at dinner. And everybody in hell is just like hearing this story for the 50,000th time. And he goes off, and all the suitors are sitting there, and they're like, we deserve this. We did this to ourselves. And then cut back to the world of the living. Oh boy, gotta turn a lot of pages before we cut back to the world of the living. Agamemnon really does go on. It's going to be weird when you read Dune. There's a lot of references to Agamemnon in Dune because he's, the founder of the Atreides. And when Leto remembers, like, Leto's able to, like, conjure up Agamemnon. I wonder if he talks about this. I wonder if that's what Leto's listening to all day. So Odysseus goes to his father, who at this point is a broken shell of a man. He wanders around his gardens, doesn't bathe, doesn't take care of himself, and he just sort of waiting to die. And Odysseus is like looking at this guy, this broken man who's lost his wife, lost his son. He's like, I'm going to test him. Make sure he's still on my side. He starts asking the dad questions, and he's like, Dad's really out of it. And eventually Odysseus sort of cuts the questioning short, and he's like, hey, Dad, I'm Odysseus. He's like, no, it can't be. He's like, no, but it is. I got this thing on my thigh. You remember that? From when that boar gouged me? You didn't know that this thing on my thigh was going to be so important a couple of chapters ago. But it's really come in handy, this scar that was never mentioned before. And he's like, oh my God, you're back. And you killed the suitors? He's like, oh, I killed the fucking suitors. And Dad's like, tight. So we're probably fucked then, huh? And he's like, oh yeah, we're fucked. Yeah, they're probably marching on us right now. I had a bard singing as loud as he could to try to keep up the pretense that there was a party. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think that lasted very long. So yeah, they're going to be marching here any minute. And Laertes is like, well, then we better suit up. And he's like, hell yeah, we're going to suit up. And they round up the boys. Not a lot of boys at this point. Not a lot of boys. It's still pretty much just Odysseus, Telemachus, pig guy, cow guy, Laertes, two dudes I never heard of who were just around. But you know what? They've got the high ground. That's not nothing.
Yeah, my book ran out of material a while ago.
Well, my book's not thriving at this point of the story.
Yeah, this is dragging on.
And
I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, oh my God.
I know. But I know you stopped talking a long time ago, but I'm not letting up, and I'm not letting you out of it. So all the dudes show up to fight these guys. It's going to be the epic battle. And then they run at each other, and Athena descends like a thunderbolt, and she's like, thanks, Dad. Guys, I've decided this is over. And they're like, what? She's like, yeah, you're not doing this. Odysseus is back. He killed your sons. They were dicks. I okayed that. And I have decided there is not going to be a civil war. Odysseus is king again. And they're like, well, I don't agree to that. And she's like, oh, you don't? Oh, you don't agree to that? She gets right up in his face. She's like, you don't fucking agree to that? He's like, fine, I guess I agree to it. And Odysseus is still like punching a guy. He didn't quite hear the whistle. And she's like, Odysseus, stop that. I'm peacemaking. And he's like, okay, yeah, no, cool. You're the boss. You're the boss, Athena. She's like, that's right. I am the boss. I'm in charge of everything. I can just make you guys do whatever I want. I can make you
everyone dance.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can make you
dance for my.
I can make you dance like little puppets. Okay, I run this show. All of this is Athena. All the time. Shake hands. I said shake fucking hands, or I will turn you inside out. And they're like, fine. They like shake hands, and she's like, good. Now kiss. And they like give each other like a peck on the lips, and she's like,
no. Full on tongue.
I think you know I meant tongue. And they like tongue kiss to seal the peace, and she's like, Olympians. And then she rises back to the air, and there was peace. Odysseus was king. He lived out the rest of his days. Telemachus, he'll eventually become king. Less impressive.
Yeah. I think they straight up say that.
Yeah. And that's the end of the Odyssey.
We did it.
Athena just fixes everything.
We did it. It would have been nice if she would just... Yeah, whatever.
Wouldn't have worked.
You know? Yeah, no,
there's
right.
a lot of cogs in motion, a lot of wheels. Her plans are not your plans. She's on a higher level. Also, she's just all powerful and absolutely ripped on cocaine. So.
All right. I can do the thing in post.
Are you anxious to get out of here? Has it been a while?
Yeah, I'm a little tired. It seems to have gone on a while. I think maybe they could have cut some of this, but yeah. Oh hell yeah! Michigan's winning.
Oh good.
53 seconds. They're shit. Stop making free throws. They're 7 points up with 53 seconds left on the clock.
Well, I'm glad your attention span has held out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the Odyssey. That's the great epic. That's what Christopher Nolan will be filming. I have a lot of thoughts. Maybe there will be some blog posts. I don't think we're going to rate this.
I don't know how you would.
No, it's not the sort of thing you can rate. But this has gone on quite a while, so I think I will. I'll talk about it a little bit more in some blog posts if anybody's really curious, and maybe I'll turn those into like video essay content or something if anybody really wants it. And with that, we're done.
We did it. Successful completion of the Odyssey.
Everybody, I want you out there burning a thigh bone to the bright-eyed Pallas Athena. It is through her that all things are possible. Good night.
All right. Bye. Gotta thank the old patrons over on Patreon. Starting with, in no particular order, John Bierce, real author. He wrote The Mage Errant and The City That Would Eat the World and The Rack. Wabi award-winning The Rack. And you got Jacob Lansky doing whatever the fuck he wants, motherfucker. Spooky Shy with a Y, over on TikTok and others. Jamie, the Gravy Man. You can find him on ifyouwantthegravy.wordpress.com. And finally, Isekai Sensei Sama from That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcast. Is being a drunken man who falls off a roof and dies and then has to tell your commanding officer / king to give you a proper burial an isekai? I don't know. See you next week. I'm not. I do want them to remove them and put them in jars and bury those jars with me like an Egyptian pharaoh. But those are coming with me. And don't throw my brain out like they did with the pharaohs. That was big whoopsie.
I don't know what I want them to do with my brain. I think I'd want them to
embalm it.
Oh no, I want them to burn it. Because I don't want there to be a chance that like any part of me is still conscious. That's something I kind of worry about.
Yeah.
Like I've held a brain.
What if that's heaven, Ben? Just being a brain.
That's why I want them to burn me. So no, I've held a human brain before, and I remember holding this brain and thinking like, nobody should ever be able to do this. That's just.
I missed the opportunity to see a brain, and I'm super bummed about it.
It's kind of an experience I wish I didn't have.
They were gonna remove part of the skull so that the brain could expand because it was swollen.
Oh shit!
Missed it by a day. Yeah,
that's so fucking weird.
It was a teenager who got in like an ATV accident. He crashed into a semi. And they were like, yeah, he's probably not going to survive, but the best chance he has if we do this craniotomy. And I'm like, fuck, man, you got to see a craniotomy?
That's why you got to drive responsibly, because you never want to be the person in the hospital that all the doctors are going, hey, look at this. You want to see something cool? Look at this kid's fucking brain.
Yeah, and I do think it was
you could see his thoughts.
Hit him. Oh God! Why does it just keep saying delete my browser history over and over in his brain?
Oh. Do you think we're insensitive?
Maybe a little.
Maybe
a little.